Okay, now I want to have some sound and some music in the game. How do we do that? Well, again, all we need to do is find the audio component and add it to a game object. And all of a sudden, we have audio in the scene. We have audio in the game. You can do that in several different ways. You can create a new object and just add an audio component to it, or you can add an audio component to an existing object. For background music, you'll probably do it on a separate object because it's playing throughout the whole game. Let's say if there is a weapon that you are using and you want the sound to go together with the weapon, or you want the sound to start from the position of that weapon, then you'll probably just add an audio component to the object. So let's do the. I'll demonstrate both method and you'll see what I mean. So here I'll also introduce the idea of an empty game object. So far we've been creating objects from the primitive models, and we've been creating these primitive models into the game, right? But you can also create an empty game object. Right, so go to game object, create empty, and it's just going to have the name game object on it. And there is no component. The only thing it has is a transform. So it has a position in the game, it has a rotation in the game, right? But you can't see anything. There's nothing else in it. It's just a set of data attached to this object. I'm going to reset rotation. Okay, why is that useful? Well, for example, since now we're creating an audio component, it doesn't have to have a visual, right? People don't need to see where the sound is coming from. Although you could potentially create a speaker model and then put it there, so then when the player goes close to the speaker, they can hear the music. But for now, we can just say, okay, we have this empty game object. It doesn't have anything in it. And we'll construct a new object from here, from scratch. Okay, so I'm going to rename it to background music. Okay, and let's click on add component and go to audio and audio source, right? So basically this makes this object an audio source. All right, so it contains an audio that the speaker is going to pick up. And we need to have an audio clip for it to play. We want it to play either a song or a sound. It could be anything. It could be any kind of standard WAV file or MP3 file. But now I don't have any music files in my scene. So again, I just saved the file, but let's go to the asset store and see what we can find. Okay, so asset store, let's go to audio. Let's see if we can find any good free sound or music. Now, one thing you want to pay attention to is, even though, for example, this one is free, the size is fairly big, and for the purpose of this demo, I'm going to try to find something a bit smaller so it downloads a bit faster. Okay, let's see. I remember seeing something earlier that we can potentially use. Here, 8-bit sound. Click on this. If you can't find it, just do a search 8-bit sounds. It's only about 2 meg, so that's great. Download, and again, I'm going to wait for Unity to import the package. Click on import. close out the asset store. Now again, we have a new folder now called 8-bit sound, and if you click on it, you can preview it by clicking on this. Let's see what that sounds like. Okay, so that's the sound effect. Let's try the explosion sound. That's kind of cool. If you click on loop on, it's going to continue over and over. It's a bit annoying, but that's good. So menu. Let's try that. Pick up. Okay, so not exactly background music type of sound, so I'm going to try to find another one. And I just found this one called Music by Joey. I don't know what this is going to sound like, but download size is fairly small, so let's give that a try, and then we can use the 8-bit sounds for something else, for sound effects. But let's just get the background music first. Okay, again, import. And I'm going to close asset store whenever that's done. Okay, that took a bit of time, but I think it finally finished importing. So if you go to, I just got this new folder, music files. And again, let's preview it. Okay, let's go with that one. So that one is called Frank Drake's equation. Right. Again, in the inspector, you have various settings that you can use for this particular file. And the nice thing about this is you can change the compression, and you can change this file size. It might be handy, especially if you're doing say a mobile project. You might want to reduce the file size. But let's not worry about that now. Let's click on background music again. So this is the empty game object that we created. It's missing an audio clip. So I'm just going to drag and drop this here. Okay. And we want to have play on awake, which means when you start the game, when the scene, well, actually it says here, when the scene loads, it will start playing this music. And also I want to loop it so that it continues to play this music in the background. So if we just hit play, you can hear that the music is playing now. So now we have background music. Very good. So same thing with sound effects. Right, so now we have background music, or maybe we want some sound when this cube is moving. We want it to make a certain type of sound. So let's click on the cube. Actually, instead of doing that, I want to play a sound when the floor is changing color. Right, so when we click on the floor, I want it to play a sound. So let's click on the floor, click on Add Component, and again, Audio Source. I'm going to collapse this one so it's a little bit cleaner. Again, it's waiting for an audio clip. Let's go back to the 8-bit sound. Now I just want a sound that plays once when the floor is clicked on. Yeah, let's go with that one. So click on the floor, find our audio source, and then again drag and drop this one here. Now the thing is, we want to uncheck play on awake, right? Because we don't want it to play this sound when the game starts. We want to play it when we click on the floor, so we uncheck that. Another thing I want to do is I want to change this from a 3D sound to a non-3D sound. It's a little bit easier to deal with, and I'm going to do the same thing with this one as well. So that's going to re-import the asset. Let's give it a couple seconds here. Basically what that does is simply to solve a problem. Sometimes when you have a sound or music in the game, it's really quiet. Sometimes all you need to do is just making that a 2D sound, and because it's not considered like space and different types of, and you don't have to worry about these settings. Anyways, coming back to this floor, so we now have a new audio source component on the floor object, and we don't want it to play on the wake. We don't want it to play when the game starts. We want it to play only when we click on it. And how do we activate this? How do we tell the system to play it? Well, we're gonna do it inside Playmaker. Okay, so let's go back to Playmaker. Select the floor again. I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger. Okay. So now we know that when it's in the idle state, it waits for a mouse down event, and as soon as we click on the floor, it goes to mouse down and the new state, new color state. Okay, so the first thing that we do here is changing the color, and also I want it to play a sound. So click on Action Browser, and let's find Audio and Audio Play. All right, double click on it. See that it's been added here. Again, game object, we're going to use owner, volume 1, that's fine. One shot clip. One shot means it's going to play it once, right? So we can okay, so here, instead of doing that, it actually allows you to so Playmaker allows you to play a sound that's not here. Like if you have a game object that doesn't have this setup here, it's fine. You can also play an additional additional sound clip here, but we're not using that since we already have an audio source here. So we're gonna just leave that at none. So don't worry about that, and hit play. Background music, listen carefully, click on this. Now you can hear that sound, that pickup sound being played. Let me turn off the background music object, so we don't have so much going on. Try that again. Okay, now we don't have the background music, and when I click on the floor, it plays the sound here. And that was triggered by this action audio play, and it simply plays whatever is on this, what audio clip is attached to this particular object.